Welcome back to another video with me, Teacher Alex, here at AlexWorldwide. So today we're going to be talking about a big question that many of my students have asked. Why can I understand some native English speakers, but other native English speakers I cannot understand? Why is that? Well, it's a common challenge that many people have to face. And today, we're going to explore this challenge in depth. So let's unravel this mystery together. Understanding native English speakers will vary considerably, and this is why. There are diverse speech patterns of native speakers. So depending on where that speaker is from, they will have a different dialect or accent. So for me, so for example, myself, I've got the received pronunciation accent. This is what you would think of as your stereotypical British accent that is generally isolated to the southern half of the UK. But if you're from the north of the UK or Scotland or Ireland or America or Canada or South Africa or New Zealand or Australia or anywhere in the world where you're speaking English, your accent and dialect is gonna be different. So if you have trained yourself to listen to English just with one accent, then of course you are going to struggle to understand people from other places with different dialects and different accents. So that could be one reason why you find it difficult to understand some native English speakers. Me, as an English teacher, I can understand how difficult it is sometimes for English learners to understand English. So when I talk, I try to focus my English speaking so it's clear and precise and therefore easier to understand. Whereas some people obviously are not English teachers and are not trying to make it easier. They're just talking how they normally would. So these people can sometimes be difficult to understand. Second reason why perhaps you might not understand a native English speaker compared to another is that there is a huge contrast or difference between English that we learn in the classroom and English in the real world. Because in the classroom, you'll usually learn clear, easy to understand English. Whereas in the real world, English is fast paced. It includes loads of idioms and colloquial terms that are not easily understood, but have to be learnt one by one. In the real world, English is dynamic, full of slang and cultural references you just don't learn from textbooks. Another difference is generational language varieties. So for example, if you speak to a teenager, they're going to use different language compared to an 80 or 90-year-old person. They'll be speaking the same language and they can talk to each other, but some of the words that the teenager will use, the elderly person will not understand because they've not heard these words before. Because language evolves and language changes. So sometimes this new modern slang might not be understood by the older generation, and vice versa. Maybe the older generation uses slang and words that the younger generation is not familiar with. This generational gap in language can add another layer of complexity to understanding native English speakers. So there could be various reasons why you understand some native English speakers, but you struggle with others. So let's talk about ways that you can fix this problem and try to understand as many different native speakers as possible. It's all about improving your listening skills. You need your ears to be adaptive so that you'll be able to understand if they're speaking English, regardless of where they're from or what accent they talk in. So my first tip is make sure that you're exposed to different speaking styles. As part of your English learning schedule and routine, you should be listening to English, whether this is audiobooks, podcasts, movies, TV shows, radio, whatever it is. But make sure that the listening part of your English routine includes different accents. So perhaps you listen to a podcast from America, say. Ensure that maybe you've got different American accents in that podcast. Then you watch a movie, including different British accents, or Australian, or perhaps a French speaker talking English. Make sure that you're listening to various different accents so that you are fine-tuning your listening skills to different dialects. This will make sure that you are trained to be able to understand English regardless of the accent that it's coming from. There's also a limitation of just having classroom training. If you're just learning from one textbook, then you're not going to become adept to everyday English and the slang that's used all the time in Britain and America or wherever. So ensure that in your English learning, there's a variety of real-world English. Maybe ask your English teacher to give you that real-world English training. Or if you don't have an English teacher, make sure that you watch lots of videos where you learn slang and idioms that are used every day in normal conversational English. Another useful tip is to try to use English that you want to learn. What do I mean by that? Well, say for example, you want to improve your English so that you can go further in a specific career area. Say for example, you're training to be a doctor. Make sure you're learning medical terminology in English. This will help you to progress within that field. Because if you're learning English, but you're learning about general things, this is fantastic, of course, but you need to learn English vocabulary that is specific to the goal that you would like to achieve. So by doing this, make sure you're reading books, watching TV shows that use that language that you would like to learn. So for example, if it is medical field that you'd like to go into, Grey's Anatomy, Scrubs, ER, any of those medical TV shows will help you to hear that medical terminology and improve that skill whilst enjoying watching a TV show you like. Okay, last tip on this one. Try to overcome perfectionism in speaking. Many people worry and they don't speak and they just hold back and feel like, no, my English is not so good, because they think that their English needs to be perfect to be able to use it. And this is simply not true. Conversational practice is one of the most important things to do to improve your English skills. It's important to just speak confidently, even if you make mistakes, and learn from these interactions. There you have it. Some reasons why you understand some native speakers and why you don't understand some others, and some useful hints and tips on how to improve your listening skills so that you can understand everyone. But trust me, I'm a native English speaker, and sometimes I will hear an accent and I will not have any clue that they're speaking English. But it just takes a minute for your ear to tune into it, and then you can understand everything they're saying. So it takes time, but don't worry, you will get there. So keep working hard, putting in that consistent hard work and progress, and you will become a fantastic English speaker in no time. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, give us a like and a thumbs up and a comment, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.